Welcome to The Rebound with Coach Matt Doherty.
Welcome to The Rebound. I'm Matt Doherty. Today I have the great pleasure of sitting down with someone I've admired for a long time. John Lucas was an All-American in 2 sports at the University of Maryland, basketball and tennis. He was the number 1 player picked in the 1976 NBA draft. Let's get to the show so we can learn and grow. John, take us back to Durham, North Carolina, where you grew up, went to high school, and why the heck didn't you go to Chapel Hill to play basketball for Dean Smith?
That's a good question. Good to see you, man. I really liked Carolina. My history goes back, and you have to remember the time I was born. I really wanted to play. It was going to be the first year freshman could play varsity basketball. And at that time, George Carl was going to be the starting guard at Carolina. And I also wanted to play tennis. And Coach Smith said I couldn't do both. I had to play one or the other. And I had always been a big admirer of Lefty Driesell, who used to coach at Davidson.
That's right.
And when he coached at Davidson, he actually integrated the South with a guy named Mike Malloy.
Yes.
And then came Charlie Scott to Carolina. So I was always a big fan, but loved Carolina, loved Coach Skakel, who was a tennis coach, grew up with his family, played over there, and nothing brings me back fond memories like playing in Carmichael.
Yeah, I bet. What was your record in Carmichael?
We only got 1 win in Carmichael in my 4 years there. I knew you wanted to bring that up.
I didn't know the answer, John. I didn't know the answer.
One win. And it was really funny. Back then it was an 8-league thing, and all the coaches seemed to have great distaste for competing against one another. So that was Lefty and Dean, and I'll never forget in one of the walking through handshake lines, and Lefty walked by Dean and said, "I finally got you." And the next time we played, and then that's back when Carolina had started the 4 corners.
Right.
And if you got behind, especially under the last 6 minutes, they spread the floor out and make you guard and concentrate on what you were doing to finish. And it's funny, I use that 4-corner concept in my business stuff today.
Really? How so?
Well, in the idea, you have to remain patient to achieve your goal. And one slip up or deviating from your principles on defense would cause a back door. The low man would come in, try to stop, and you get beat on the back door on the weak side. You had to stay true to your principles. And the other thing that I use that 4 corners for is sometimes you're in a waiting pattern instead of an aggressive mode. And no matter whether they play a zone, whether the stock market is down, up, or whatever you're doing, stay your course.
Right.
And for 60 years, I've been living by that principle since I got sober.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's go to business first. You said in my business. Tell the audience what your business is.
Well, my business in 1986 started in rehabilitation centers. Mm-hmm. I was the first athlete to admit to having a serious drug and alcohol problem, and nobody knew what to do with me. We didn't have any rules in the NBA in effect as to what to do. So eventually they kicked me out, and I was on a path to find out what could help me, because I did not realize an addiction wasn't just say no. It was coming up before. It was more to it than that. And I found out that I had an allergy of the body, along with a compulsion of the mind, and an emotional and spiritual bankruptcy. Wow. That meant that I had nothing to fight off any daily life problems of acceptance. So my way was to medicate my feelings by drinking or doing drugs to hope that my problems would go away. And guess what? 2 hours later, they were right back. So
let me ask you a question. You were an All-American tennis player and basketball player at the University of Maryland, the number one pick in the NBA draft. And I heard you in an interview. That's the first time a guard was ever picked number one, I believe.
Yes.
So people listening to this show would say, well, what problems did you have? You know, you had the world by the short hairs at that time.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. As soon as I got to the pros, I quit.
You quit.
I go, what's the next goal? Where's the next thing to reach? Where is it to get to? And now I took all of my sports training and tried to apply it to life. Get the biggest house, get the biggest car, do this, do this. You'll want to, if somebody got $1 more than I got in my contract, I got to get $1 more. And as I was moving through life, and then when I got to the league, I saw that I got to play against all my heroes. I got to play against Shabbat. I got to play against all the people that were important that I thought in my sports. And I got to play in the Forum. I got to play at Madison Square Garden. I played everywhere. Now what?
How about that?
So I got on drugs.
How about that?
I got on drugs, man. It's issue. Everybody goes, well, was your family life not bad? No. Both of my parents were my high school and junior high school principals. I got on drugs because I wanted to be fair for other people to compete against me. Because I thought I had everything. And then once I got there, I found out that not everybody was trying to win. Not everybody was successful, that my heroes had problems.
Yeah.
I got to find out that life is a little bit different than what I had anticipated it to be. And you can see it, you know, it's really ironic. You would think the guy Puff Daddy or Sean Combs, what he's going through now in life, you would never have thought he would have any issues going on off the court or anybody else that is in there. And I realized nobody gets out of life unscathed.
Yeah. You know, that's really interesting. I just wrote down a note, and I don't know if there's a book titled this, but you don't ever want to meet your heroes, you know, because once you do, they become real and you see the flaws and you're like, oh my gosh, it kind of crushes. And you start to look back and say, what was my childhood about?
Right. It was really, and I tell you what else about your statement about meeting your heroes. I live trying to be God, trying to be perfect. You know how hard it is not to tell the truth, not to be here, not to be there. And instead of living, the best thing happened to me was losing it all.
Yeah.
Because now it's really good. At 33, I had my born again moment, completely out of sports, completely broke. And I get this great gift of recovery.
Yeah.
And I have to start over and I have to go on this journey to find myself, just like in your network with your people in business. I'm having to start a new company from scratch and grow after I built and sold something to somebody else. I've got to start all the way over. I'm not a part of that success anymore. And I'm starting from scratch. So, you know, sports taught me that it's never over till it's over. And I learned the disciplines of one day at a time.
OMJ Clothing is an elite men's clothing store that provides a vast array of spectacular brands of men's lifestyle apparel for every day. Elevate your business upscale casual at OMJ. Success comes from standing out. Let me ask you this. You touched on born again. Are you a Christian? Are you a man of faith?
Yes.
Were you always, or did that happen when you hit 33 and you hit rock bottom?
I was always in the church, grew up in the church, but never understood it.
Yeah.
Never understood. I tell people I now know the difference between religiosity and spirituality.
Yeah.
Religiosity for me is for people who's scared to go to hell.
Right.
Spirituality is for those of us who've been to hell and coming back. And so, I've had to learn to grow in a more spiritual way to my understanding. So for me, God is a number of things. He's good, orderly direction. He's doing the next right thing. And it's trying to establish my own personal faith that I have instead of trying to get Matt Doherty's faith or trying to get somebody else's faith. It's and that's what my recovery or Alcoholics Anonymous is about. It's all a trick back to God.
So
Everything I'm finding out is a trick back to God.
So you at 33 lose everything. You're broke. You go from an All-American to, broke.
To a drug addict. Yeah, to a drug addict.
At that point, did you ever say, God, why me? Like, did you ever look for sympathy? Did you ever feel sorry for yourself?
Well, what the greatest gift I got was I realized anybody can help me. So now here I am thinking I'm on top of the world. And it took me 6 years to get there once I admitted to having a problem, man. I just didn't get it overnight.
Yeah, of course not. Yep.
It took me 6 years to finally get beat up enough and get the gift of desperation. I got desperate and was willing to do whatever it took to get sober. So there's a lot of people whose last names I don't even know taught me how to live again. I mean, so, one of my best experiences was I went to an AA meeting and I was reading the newspaper in the back because I was reading about myself, and a guy walked me out of the meeting and he said, come here. He said, when you come in here, we don't read the newspaper. You be quiet, you listen. And by the way, clean up some of the ashtrays and ashes and make sure the seats are ready for the next people who come to a meeting.
Right.
I go, who you talking to? You talking to me? He says, yeah.
I'm John Lucas.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. And then I found out that I had to drop all my prejudices. I had to let people be who they were. Except that you got to remember, my doubles partner in tennis was a lady by the name of Renee Richards.
Yes.
She was the first transsexual, and I was like the second or third black to be playing tennis on the professional tour.
You talk about mixed doubles. Yeah. That was it.
And so she's one of my very, very best friends, even to today. And Renee and I remember going back to play with the Milwaukee Bucks, and she came to the game, and I told her all about them, and they were all like wanting to get a chance to meet her. So I introduced her to one of the guys, and she hugged him in the layup line. He went crazy. This is back in 85, 86. He went crazy. Renee was the absolute best and smart. And I learned so much about unconditional love from her.
Wow.
Remember when Renee changed her name and her sex and she had to write her kids.
Oh gosh.
And so in some of the letters she wrote, she had a special way of putting the XOs, I love you, and let them know that was really her right now. Unbelievable. So, and then we would go places and people would just go, and I was going, what is this? But it taught me unconditional love.
Yeah.
And one of the things that in business and in sports is hire the best people. Get the best people you can get. Look past what they look like. Look past the gift and look at what they can bring to help you grow, and that you can't do everything.
Yeah.
Even in my coaching, I wanted to be the trainer, the strength and conditioning coach, the first assistant. I wanted to do it all. I had a hard time early in my coaching delegating it to other people. if
Yeah.
you're going to grow something. You
Talk
got
more.
people.
Go ahead. Keep talking about that. Keep talking about that. That's an important topic. You know, when you owned a minor league Miami team, the Tropics, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, wasn't that the team that Will Farrell played on?
No, Will did, but it's funny. That team was all set up because at that time our NBA league was drug infested.
Right.
I got sober. I wrote all of the 4 major policies in all 4 major sports, which we use today. The
Really?
policies we use in drug and alcohol are now mental health. I wrote.
Did you
Nobody
really?
had anything in place. Yeah, so I had this team, the Tropics, and it was all for recovering basketball players. It was a 90-day program because if people made a change in 90 days, it would happen. And we had some of the best players in the league because guys had been suspended. Roy Topley, you may remember some of these
Oh
names.
yeah, Roy was from Michigan, had a double. He averaged 20 and 20. It seemed like
Yeah.
with the Mavericks.
Roy
Yeah.
Topley, Grant Gondrzik,
Yep.
Kenny Bannister,
Kenny Bannister, the animal.
Dwayne Washington.
Per-
And then I would put two college players on the team that may not have been at risk, but they weren't drafted. So I would take a guy like from North Carolina, Shaw University, or Johnson C. Smith, put them on the team. And for 2 years, we won the championship. Everybody, Timmy Lakeler, who's on TV, played in this minor league. A lot of
Yep.
guys played. Everybody got jobs from this team. So I only had it 2 years because David Stern and the rest of the league done such a good job of putting our policies in place. There was no more need for the team.
Oh wow, how about that?
And
But
everybody
yeah,
got jobs, and we had a counselor that traveled with us. We had meetings. We had a lot of major articles because right at that point the drug thing was a big issue in our society and in government. So we really got that in place, and guys really grew.
So let's go back to the audience listening. Starts a company. You started and bought the Miami Tropics. You started out as the owner, and then you realized you might be more effective as a coach. So understanding the self-awareness, defining roles, delegation, these are things that entrepreneurs have a hard time with when they start. They're doing everything. Then they grow, they hire people, and they start to micromanage. How did you learn how to, one, put people in the right place and then delegate?
I got a great gift on March 14th, 1986. I got sober. I have what most people don't have. I have a competitive edge daily through Alcoholics Anonymous to handle life that other people can't. I'm okay with you getting, and I had to do a lot of work on myself. I don't buy new cars anymore, Matt. I buy used cars.
Me too.
I don't have any jewelry of any consequence. I got rid of a lot of awards in my house because it doesn't mean anything. And what I learned to do is you can't keep it unless you give it away.
You can't keep it unless you give it away. Talk more about that.
Or you can't keep your knowledge unless you give it away. And then once you give it away, I never forget, I used to be so angry with my youngest kid. Neither one, but all of them got my wife's height except my daughter. So I was really mad because I wanted
you I won't go there, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was really mad. And both of them played in the pros. In fact, my youngest this guy is the youngest coach in NC2A right now at the University of Miami.
That's right.
And John, 5'10", didn't get drafted, played for 10 years in the NBA, and he's a coach. And I could not go to games in college to watch Jay and them play because they put the camera on, and I would be so frustrated, so mad that either they weren't playing enough or they didn't play well enough that I was throwing my hat. And my wife said, "Why don't you just stop going?" And I would go and I would gripe. And I think people in business, they all need somebody to be a mentor to them.
Yeah.
They need somebody that they can tell what's going on with them. So somebody can tell them, you're way off on your thinking.
Yeah,
You know,
truth tellers. I'm an executive coach, John,
yeah,
and that's part of my role now with small to mid-sized business owners and founders and CEOs is being able to listen, but also give them honest feedback and be a truth teller to them. And we all need that. And a lot of guys often say the truth teller in their lives happens to be their spouses. So, yeah.
yeah, but and then the thing is, I can't share. And in business, I don't care what business leaders tell you, personal life comes into business life.
Oh, yeah.
It's no two if anything, but the way I leave my house, it will affect how my employees are going to be treated that day.
Yes.
And the way I leave my job will affect how my house is going to be when I check my wife. Everybody says, I can cut one off, cut the other. No, you can't.
I brought this up. I had this come up with a client the other day. How do you manage that? How do you manage that transition from home to work, work to home?
For me, I sit in my car 10 minutes before I go in either way.
Yep.
And I process what's going on.
Yep.
And then after the 10 minutes up, I pray for acceptance of whatever's getting ready to go on and move forward. And I found out now, I'm much older. I'm not fighting and chasing. I always tell people in business, as in life, there's 3 P's in your life. The first P is you probe. In early business, early life, let's say 19 to 35, you probe through life. And if you're starting a new business, you probe through it, you make mistakes, you take risks, you do stuff, And then from 35 to 50 are in the middle stages of your business. You prevent. You know what not to do. You know what things will work, and you start saving, and your company begins to grow. You're putting money up, you're putting things in that you like in life. And then from 55 till it ends, you prepared. You prepared for what you're going to leave, what's left, and taking care of yourself and getting right with God.
So you probe, you prevail was number 2. Prevent,
because you prevent things that you know that shouldn't happen anymore, and you don't make the same mistakes. One, you're older, your company has grown, you've grown, and so you know kind of what is needed to go. You don't take as many risks anymore. And then when you're at the tail end, or you're getting ready to get out of it, until you find a new young executive or somebody that's like you prepare until you're willing to let go. Now, here's the hard part of it. It's a family business. You want that person to be your last name.
Right.
And a lot of times, it's not.
That's that is right.
You know what I mean? I have this big basketball business going now. We're teaching and training. I did it for my boys. It's called JL3. And we got an AAU team, believe we're going to help. And the thing is to get kids in college. And we haven't missed for 5 years. We got over 60 kids in college, high players in college. Well, my son's a coach at the University of Miami. He wanted this team. My other son wanted a team. He coached with the Suns and now he's with the Aces. It's left with me.
Right.
And I'm going, I love it. It's my retirement. I can go when I want to go. I can do that. They love it. It feeds them.
That's right.
It does not affect my bottom line. It keeps me with my daily living. I'm not touching my nest egg for them.
Right.
It's enough where we can get by, and I'm not doing anything that I'm worried about. I can either go, and then I'm giving opportunities for other people. Like I told you, Matt, if the gift, like you are now an executive coach, that's a gift. If you don't pass your gift on, you're punishing yourself and others.
Yeah.
The hard part about getting a gift like what you have and what I have is like I try to mentor people about recovery. Only 1 out of 10 accept it.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't make it. And everybody doesn't like it. And you know what hurts me? What gets my ego in business and things sometimes when I can't be the person to help you.
Yes.
And if somebody else helps you, it's hard for me to give that person the credit of saying they did it. I'm always looking at what they didn't do right instead of moving on and
Right.
knowing that just wasn't my time to be a part of that. So I'm wasting energy on somebody doing well because I wasn't a part of it.
Right.
Life is the greatest enigma I've ever been around. And then Steve Jobs said something, and we're just talking now. I mean, I'm rambling a little bit.
No, this is beautiful. This is very appropriate for the audience. Keep talking.
Steve Jobs said something that scared me to death. I just lost my dad 3 months ago.
Yes, I'm sorry for your loss.
No. He was 104.
Dang.
Exactly. And when he passed, he had 2 schools. He integrated North Carolina school systems. He did a lot for his legacy and did things. And I go, man, this funeral is going to be so crowded. We're going to have all his friends were dead.
Yeah. How
And
about
the
that?
other people didn't know what he had done or what his legacy was. And so I'm finding out that the greatest gift in my family, because now I'm dad, I'm the granddad, I'm dad, the greatest gift, as Steve Jobs said, was death. And I go, what? I ain't ready to die. He said, and it just stuck with me, out with the old, in with the new. Meaning it's my time to be grandpa, my time to be old, and then my window's gonna be gone, and what I'll leave is what I taught those kids.
Right. You hit something that triggers me. You know, we all have triggers. You're competitive. I'm competitive. Our biggest strength's our biggest weakness, right? Our biggest strength is to be competitive. By the way, I've made this public maybe 6 years ago, John. I'm an alcoholic. I gave up alcohol 34 years ago in New York City on the west side of Manhattan. I woke up on a porch in the Jersey Shore of a beach house, and it wasn't the house I was staying at. And it scared me to realize, oh, this isn't just fun and games anymore. I've got a problem. And by the way, I'm Irish. I probably earned it.
You earned it. You earned it.
Honestly. And I got sober, and it's without that, like 11 years later, I'm the head coach at Notre Dame. My wife, one of the attractions she had for me was that I didn't drink. And so, giving that up, I was a competitive drinker. Like I was an all city drinker. If there was a gold medal in the Olympics for drinking, I think I would have won.
I'm going to stop you right there. I was a nervous wreck for you taking the North Carolina job. We didn't, it's your first time ever sharing that with me. I didn't know that.
Yep.
But you had some of the same tendencies that I had when you were like before. And the funny part about it is God sometimes doesn't give you what you really want.
Right.
Unless you see it. Because you wanted to be, I remember that just like it's yesterday. It's hard to go back home, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people like in business and things, you can't recreate 10 years ago or 20 years ago today. It won't be the same.
Right.
It'll have a new twist to it.
Yeah.
It'll be different. And so for you, look at that. Look how relaxed, how at peace. Now, some of that is age, obviously, and going through it. But it's like I was telling you about those 3 Ps. You look like you're in that prepare stage.
That's right. And I don't want to get to the fourth one yet. That's past. That's when you pass, right? Hopefully I'll stay in the third P, prepared, for a while. So
That's
what?
Perfect. That's perfect.
So the comparison games, right? They don't bother me as much, but boy, oh boy, it was a trigger for me to watch a North Carolina game. It was a trigger for me to see a coach that I felt I was better than, making all this money. How did you come to peace with that? You were the number one player picked in the draft. You coached in the NBA as a head coach. You went on and continued to be an assistant. But you talked about the competitiveness. Somebody else would be helped by another person, not you. How do you come to peace as a competitive person with those things?
It's like your young people that are watching, that are entrepreneurs and in your business. When you've gone to what people perceive as the top, people don't normally want to hire you because they think you're there to take their job.
Yeah. Yep.
And they think you know more. And what affects a person if somebody leans on you instead of doing. So what people do, especially in sports, is try to find assistant coaches that they think fit, that don't threaten the coach.
That's right.
When really what you need is somebody that threatens the coach to keep the coach growing, but yet he does not necessarily want your job.
That's right.
He may want a job, but he
That's
wants your job. And so they never let guys do that, especially if you have had success. People don't like people who have had success because they think their egos,
right,
which is edging God out, won't let them accept your help. And all you may want to do is help.
Wait. You snuck something in there. Now I know you're slick. You gave me a no look right there. You gave me a no look, and I have good hands. I caught it. I may not be able to finish, so I'm going to throw it back to you. Ego is what?
EGO, the acronym for ego is EGO, edging God out.
Edging God out. Dang, that's good, man. That is a good assist right there. I'm going to do Dean Smith. I'm going to point to the passer. Edging.
No, it's funny. I'm not telling you anything new. I've been sitting and listening to a lot of people who have our problem, who have taught me some of the greatest things that I have ever learned. Like, one of the best things, if it's not true, don't say it.
Right.
What an amazing concept. If it ain't yours, don't take it. If you don't want to get drunk, don't drink. What? Life is so simple, we complicate it.
We do.
This is so simple, we complicate it. And the simplicity of it all makes it complicated. Yep. You know my greatest dilemma?
What?
Lack of power.
Lack of power.
I got no power. Tell me the power we got. I got no power. I got power with other people help me. I got power with God. But me, it's my greatest dilemma. I got no power. And people go, well, you can get in your car, you can drive, no. That's not my wife. That's who I'm married to. Those are not my kids. Those are God's kids. Those are not my job. It can be taken.
That's right.
It's a dilemma. So I live on 3 basic principles. I tell people when I speak all the time, I got the ABCs of life. The first A is acceptance. I accept who I am. I accept what I am, and I accept you for who you are. And then I had to get a B in my life, which is I had to learn to believe in something greater than me. Mm-hmm. Whatever you choose to call it, Find something that you believe in greater than you. And then this is what I love the most is to get a C in your life. Learn to care about others unconditionally. So like you hire somebody, teach them. When they get it, let them have their space and move on. So like it's no fun to work for somebody when the person is taking all the credit.
That's right.
Well, I want to work for you. You ain't gonna give me no credit for doing that. I'm not looking for credit, but at least
That's right.
you didn't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And so often when I'm around people that have a lot of I in their conversation, I don't even. And then the other thing I always ask somebody, tell me your deepest secret. And boy, people run from that one.
They're like, oh, I'll be right back. I just got a call. I got to go.
And then people go like, what do you mean? What's your deepest? Like when I got sober, my counselor asked, what's your deepest fear? Oh, fear? I got no fear. What are you talking about? Did something no. My deepest fear was I didn't believe I was good enough. And I'm looking for something traumatic that happened in my life, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see if I was abused, if it's happened. This is what my biggest fear was. I just didn't think I was good enough. And I was embarrassed. I never lost a high school tournament. In high school in North Carolina, I never took my sweatpants off in a tennis match for 4 years. So wait a minute. So in the tennis matches, you would have to bring a can of balls, and the other player would bring a can of balls, and whoever won the match took the new balls.
Right.
I never bought balls.
That's the title of your new book. I never bought balls.
But I'm saying the reason why is I'm just as scared as you are. But by me not having no balls made you scarier than I was.
Yeah, it's I think it was Churchill maybe said courage isn't being without fear. It's just moving forward in the face of fear. Like we all have our fears. Do you I'm big on this. I've asked a lot of people like yourself, successful people, what's your morning routine? And most people say they pray, they work out, and they journal. Do you do any of those?
I pray. I hate to write. I have it all in my mind. Ask me why I got it in my mind.
Why do you have it in your mind?
When I learned to be a coach, they told me never write down your stuff because people would take your stuff and make it theirs.
Well, I wrote down the 3 P's.
Yeah, well, no.
I'm going to add the 4th P, so then it'll be mine.
No. But I'm saying to you, it's the reason why if I write it down, I'm going to tinker with it. I'm going to try to make it better. Right. I'm going to try to get it to be what it's more than. I stopped going to coaching clinics. Because you know what? I would go to all these coaching clinics and I'd hear Matt Doherty talk about the press offense or something. Or somebody else would talk about the Kansas break. Or somebody talk about something. I learned I can only teach what I know. Because if I teach what you know, somebody's going to ask me a question I don't know the answer to. And in sports, as in business, when you don't know an answer to a question in your business, they lose respect for you right then on the spot because they think you don't know.
That's right.
So I only talk about the things I know.
Right.
And, somebody told me once, he said, if you don't know something, just tell them, I'll get back to you tomorrow and go look it up.
Right.
But then it's still in mind. And so I've tried to do like you. I'll tweak and I'll look at other stuff and I'll make it mine. But I've got to live it long enough that I know it completely.
That's right.
My daily routine. I used to go to my AA meeting at 6:30 in the morning when I finally stopped drinking. And for 39 years, guess where I'm at now that I don't go to my meeting at 6:30? I'm in the gym with kids in high school, 6 o'clock before school starts. And then guess what? We're back in the gym after school. And they go, why do you do that, coach? Because it's the most important thing in my life. And if you want to become a professional basketball player, it's got to become, it's so competitive now. It's different than when you and I were in school. It better become the most important thing. If we're going to pay you to play in college, it's too competitive. So you got to learn your trade inside out. And you got to make it the most important. Now, obviously, like I'm big on education. If you don't have it, that saved my ass, man, was when I put my programs in hospitals. You know what they told me? Coach, well, I'm still playing. Coach, Mr. Lucas, we'd love to have your program. Only one problem. Do you have a degree? Because you can't work in the hospital environment without a degree at this level. I said, not only do I have my degree, I got my master's degree. So I didn't have to give my program to anybody. I was eligible to work it because what I try to tell athletes, get your degree. It's your future. Now it's almost get your master's. Well, it's definitely get your master's because if you're going to work in the workplace, it's too competitive. And now with AI, with all of the stuff that's going on, it's going to be really tough if you're not academically. And now, you know, with the way things is so competitive, you got to have the education component.
Well, I could talk to you all day, John.
Because, you didn't grow until you stopped spelling cat with a K.
You mean it's not? What's a question as we come to an end here? What's a question that I didn't ask you that I should have?
That's a good question. What's the most important thing in life? That's the question you should ask me.
All right, John, I'm coachable. John, what is the most important thing in life?
Being of service to others. Because if you you know what I mean by that, it's a little deeper, man. Like my son, I try to prevent them from going through merge and the stages of merge. I try to prevent them from going through stuff so they won't have the pain I had or you had. And you know, somebody told me, made a whole bunch of sense. Why would you deprive them of life experiences? How do they get their experience if you're going to be in the way everywhere they run into obstacles?
Right. Yeah. Amen to that.
And I get so tired, man, because, you know, I have a sponsor. My coach in A, he tells me every time I get a thought, smack myself and call him.
Well, we all need coaches, and you're continuing to allow yourself to be coached, and you're coaching so many and giving back. How important, you know, I say life's impacted by three things: the people you meet, the books you read, and you can include podcasts in the books you read, and the trauma in your life, right? And the trauma in my life was a couple things: getting cut by the NBA, waking up on that porch in New Jersey, hungover, and then losing my job at North Carolina. But in a way, those three things were the best things that happened in my life. Tell me how that you resonate with that.
March 14th is on my resume.
Yeah.
The day I got sober.
Yeah.
And I have become the best version of me I've ever been.
Yeah.
I found out, thank God for a lot of things I wanted that God didn't give me.
That's right. Amen. Yeah, we need to trust the closed door. I say that sometimes. You know, if we got what we wanted, we might be dead.
Yep. And then the main thing is, a good friend of mine, all he wanted to do, I won't call his name, all he wanted to do was go in the Hall of Fame. And I used to tell him, if you donate enough money, you can get put in the Hall of Fame. I said, what you find out when you get old enough, all of those things were created to create something to talk about or give. I said, but your life work push you in the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Because I know a whole lot of lonely Hall of Famers.
That's right.
And if Hall of Fame was your goal, you really shortchanged your creator.
That's right.
If you just want to put Hall of Fame on your resume, I love the experience. I don't love them. But when people come to me like you now with the coaches, they talk about being fired. Oh, I know about that.
Yep.
Not making the team. I know a little something about that.
Right.
Family, I know a little something about that. That loneliness, that despair of being on that front porch in somebody else's house, you know about that.
Mm-hmm.
So when people come up and talk about you know desperation, you know a little bit something about that.
Yep.
There's no better gift than to get out of people's living rooms. Because everybody's living room looks real nice.
That's right.
It's that bedroom and bathroom you get to find out how they really live, man. And it sounds like you in a whole lot of people's bathrooms and bedrooms. And you keep doing that service work.
That's right.
Coaching, okay? Because
you're good.
Great gift.
John, thank you for joining us today and sharing your rebound story.
Thank you.
Leadership is a learned behavior. We all lead in some way, shape, or form. We all deal with adversity. And when you do, I challenge you to rebound. I challenge you to learn and grow. If you'd like to contact me about executive coaching, workshops, or giving a keynote talk, you can reach me at dohertycoaching.com. That's DOHERTY coaching.com. Thanks for tuning in.